In the Pacific, the sky isn't just a background for your pictures. It's a high-speed data feed that people have been reading for thousands of years. Think of the cloud formations as the original Instagram stories. If you know how to look, they will tell you exactly what is happening. It is a masterclass in reading nature's most subtle signals. From the way an island anchors a cloud in place to the rhythmic pulse of the wind-driven swells. Today, we are going deep in decoding the ancient alphabet of the sky and seeing how modern technology is finally catching up to the thousands of years of traditional wisdom. Welcome to the Science Nuclei, and this is the secret of the Pacific skies. The history of Pacific weather forecasting is being recognized as one of the most sophisticated systems of citizen science, where for centuries every member of a coastal community acted as a living weather station. This history isn't just about predicting rain, it was a matter of survival, as knowing when a cyclone might strike or when a dry season would linger dictated the planting of crops and the safety of the villagers. Traditionally, Pacific forecasters looked at the sky as a layered narrative. However, let's go back to high school science and see how clouds are formed. To explain how clouds form, you first need to remember three simple ingredients: moisture, cooling, and a little bit of dirt. First, it all starts with evaporation. Think of the sun as a giant heater that warms up the water in our oceans, lakes, and even swimming pools. This heat gives water molecules enough energy to turn from liquid into an invisible gas called water vapor that floats up into the sky. Next comes the cooling phase. As that warm water vapor rises higher, the air around it gets thinner and much colder, about 100 degrees Celsius colder for every 100 meters it climbs. Just like how a cold soda can sweat on a hot day, cold air can't hold as much water vapor as warm air. Eventually, the air gets so cold that it reaches its dew point, and that invisible gas has to turn back into tiny liquid droplets. But there is a catch. Water vapor is a bit shy and needs something to hold on to turn back into liquid. This is where the dirt comes in, scientifically known as condensation nuclei. These are microscopic bits of dust, sea salt, smoke, or even pollen floating in the air. The water vapor clings to these tiny specks, clumping together by the billions to form the visible, fluffy clouds we see drifting above. If it's extra cold up there, those droplets freeze into tiny ice crystals instead. Now, one might think all clouds go through the same process of formation, but in reality, there are different types of clouds that undergo different processes of formation. To best understand this, imagine the sky as a three-story building. Meteorologists who study weather group clouds based on which sky floor level they live on or what shape they take. Finally, they came up with three main cloud groups based on their shapes. Firstly, we have the cumulus clouds, commonly known as the heap or in the Latin word, pile. These look like fluffy white cotton balls or popcorn. They are the ultimate shapeshifters. Whenever you see small scattered white and fluffy cumulus clouds with flat bases, they are the ultimate sign for fair weather and stable atmospheric conditions, where in the Pacific, these indicate optimal sailing and fishing conditions. Islanders also watch the vertical growth of these clouds closely. When cumulus clouds begin to stack like cauliflower heads, Known as towering cumulus, it predicts instability and the likely development of heavy rain or thunderstorms later in the day. However, if the flat bottom of a cumulus cloud turns dark and heavy, it signals that the cloud is becoming saturated and is transitioning into a cumulonimbus or thunderhead, forecasting immediate severe weather like lightning and heavy downpours. The second type of cloud is known as the stratus cloud, also known as the layer. With Pacific coastal communities, these featureless gray layers, often called the blanket of the sky, are a vital indicator of atmospheric stability and seasonal shifts. Unlike the puffy cumulus clouds that signal local heating, stratus clouds represent massive movements of air, and their behavior tells a story of long-term weather pattern. They are also used in predicting prolonged stability or gloom. Because stratus clouds form in very stable air, traditionally forecasters in the Pacific use them to predict periods of fair but gloomy weather. When these weathers persist for several days, it indicates a lack of the upward convection current needed for thunderstorms, signaling a stretch of calm seas but potentially dull, light drizzle conditions. When stratus appears as fog at ground level, Pacific communities use it as morning barometer. If the fog begins to lift and break into fragments known as stratus fractus, it traditionally signals that the sun is winning the battle against the morning moisture and that clearer skies are coming by the afternoon. However, if the fog lifts but remains as a thick, low-hanging gray ceiling, it forecasts a day of high humidity and poor visibility, which historically warned fishers to stay closer to the reef. In Polynesian traditions, stratus clouds and their rain-bearing cousins, which are known as nimbostratus, are the primary markers of the winter or wet seasons. While the summer is the time for vertical cumulus, the arrival of wide, broad sheets of gray stratus signals a shift towards the cooler, rainier months. This warned communities to shift from active sea voyaging to land-based agricultural maintenance and the preparation of food stores. Forecasters also watch for chirostratus, the extremely high thin sheets that create a halo around the sun or moon. Traditionally, this milky veil served as the 12 to 24-hour advance warning of an approaching warm front or storm system. Because these clouds represent the leading edge of a weather system, seeing a halo traditionally meant the rain is only a day away. Maori traditions refer to layered cloud formations like stratus clouds as the kubunga at Tara Mainuku, or the net of Tara Mainuku, a poetic way of describing how the sky catches or filters the light. Historical bands of these clouds near the horizon, sometimes called belts, are used to predict the direction and strength of incoming winds. For example, layers of cloud held just above the horizon were the historical forerunner of the cold south wind, warning that a temperature drop was imminent. I mean, the Maori culture sure did a lot of cloud studies. No wonder they were known as the people from the land of the long white clouds, or Aotearoa. The last type of cloud is called the cirrus cloud, commonly known as the curl. These are thin and wispy, looking like delicate feathers or white mare's tails high in the air. Nowadays, Pacific Islanders continue to treat cirrus clouds as the sky's early warning system because they occupy the highest floor of the atmosphere, reaching heights of over 20,000 feet. Traditionally known as the feathers of heaven, these wispy curls are the first indicators that a distant weather system is approaching. Because they are made entirely of ice crystals, their movement and appearance reveal the secret behavior of high-altitude winds that have not hit the ocean surface yet. Historically, if these curls were seen moving rapidly over the sky while the surface air remained dead calm, it was a signal to the villagers that a hidden wind system was coming, and they had roughly 24 to 36 hours to secure their homes and crops before the storm center arrived. In Polynesian lore, the specific direction these curls point is often used to triangulate the nest or center of a cyclone. If the wispy tails are hooked or curled at the end, it tells the observer that the wind speeds at the top of the atmosphere are much faster than those below, signaling a period of high atmospheric turbulence. Today, youths in places like Vanuatu and Fiji use these observations to verify modern satellite data. While a satellite shows where the storm is now, the behavior of these cirrus feathers tells the local community exactly how aggressive that storm is likely to be when it finally reaches their specific reef. Now, although it's cool to learn that ancient Pacific knowledge and observation use clouds for weather forecasting, what's even cooler is that they're also used in navigation that allowed Pacific Islanders to sail across the vast Pacific Ocean. One of the coolest traditional hacks used by the Pacific navigators is looking for island reflections. Because bright green lagoons and wide sandy beaches often reflect light upward, they actually tint the bottom of the clouds above them. If a navigator sees a faint green glow on the belly of a distant cloud, they know there is an island hidden beyond the horizon, even if they can't see the land yet. They also look for towering cloud mountains, which are the cumulus clouds, that get stuck on high volcanic peaks, acting like a giant fluffy GPS marker. So to that note, we have looked at how Pacific Islanders have used clouds in both weather forecasting and navigation. It's basically like having a weather station that's been fine-tuned for thousands of years. Modern meteorologists have realized that satellites sometimes miss the vibes that traditional signals pick up on, like how certain birds fly low when a storm is coming, or how the wind smells before a cyclone. Although there needs to be more studies to back up these with more evidence, by mashing up old-school navigation with modern science, Pacific communities are working to create early warning systems. So whether you are using a satellite to track a hurricane nowadays or reading the cloud patterns of a cumulus cloud like an ancient mariner, remember this: the sky isn't just scenery. It's a massive free weather app that's been telling the future for thousands of years. You just have to look up and read the fine print.